Hi, my name is Barry Doyle. I'm the operator of the Rights of Injured Truckers Facebook page and website. I'm here today to talk to 1099 drivers in particular and to talk about the specific ways that the Zurich occupational accident policy is something that's really an inferior product to getting workers' comp benefits, and how relying on the Zurich occupational accident policy can cost you tens of thousands of dollars and really leave you short when you need things the most after an on-the-job accident. It's really important information for anyone who's a 1099 driver. If you have people who are in your network, hit like, hit share so that we can get this information out to drivers who really need it after they've been hurt on the job. So to begin, let's give you a little context. In our practice, we have been coming across more often drivers who are being called 1099 drivers. The work that they're doing is really completely indistinguishable from what company drivers do, but they're being called 1099 drivers and are quote unquote independent contractors. And the little finger quotes is very deliberate because they're really not truly independent contractors. There's a real distinction between people who are employees and people who are truly independent contractors. And the people who are being called 1099 drivers are really doing the same work that company drivers do. And the purpose behind this really for the company is to get out of all the obligations that come along with having employees, like paying payroll taxes, paying health insurance, and paying workers' compensation benefits. And where we're really focused in on today is the company's obligation to pay workers' compensation benefits. The good news is for people who are 1099 drivers who have been hurt on the job, the Illinois courts look to the substance of the relationship instead of the form. You can call yourself a 1099 driver all you want, but if the work that you're really doing is indistinguishable from company drivers, if it's something where the company is in charge of the work that you do, if the work that you do is at the heart of the company's business, the Illinois courts are still going to treat you as an employee. And that's important because to get workers' compensation benefits, there has to be an employer-employee relationship. If you're truly an independent contractor, then you're not eligible to get workers' compensation benefits, no matter what you call it. So, in substance, what you need to be able to do is show that the work that you're really doing is indistinguishable from company drivers. And that's true in 99.9% of the cases where somebody is being called a quote-unquote 1099 driver. So what we've seen frequently is that people who are 1099 drivers have these occupational accident policies that are issued primarily by Zurich. And the Zurich occupational accident policy is one that really doesn't provide the same level of benefits that workers' comp does, and it really leaves you shortchanged when you need things the most. And there are a lot of ways that the Zurich policy leaves you kind of holding the bag when it comes to the problems that come from being in an on-the-job accident. And I'm going to talk about just one of these. Now, above or below this post, depending on where you're viewing it, there's a link. And if you click through to the link, there's 10. And I'm only going to talk about one of the 10 today. But you should know that from beginning to end, if you're relying on the Zurich occupational accident policy, you are not getting the kind of benefits that you're supposed to be getting. So let me just talk about the one. And this particular one can cost you literally tens of thousands of dollars if you've been in an on-the-job accident. So with workers' comp, you have three basic benefits for virtually every case. One of these is 2/3 your average weekly wage while you're off. The other is payment of your medical expenses for accident-related care. And the last of these is a lump sum settlement for permanency that's associated with the injury. I'm going to talk about the last one because when people talk about getting a workers' comp settlement, what they're really talking about is that settlement for permanency at the end of the case. And that could be a significant amount of money. And for people like truck drivers who actually make a fairly good wage, who have most often fairly significant injuries, which create real limitations in terms of their ability to do the work that they do, this can literally amount to tens of thousands of dollars. we recently settled a case for a truck driver who injured his shoulder. The settlement for him was $200,000. Now, not every case is going to be worth $200,000. I certainly hope that you don't have the kind of injury that this guy had, but it's tens of thousands of dollars which may be at stake. Now, with the Zurich occupational accident policy, there is no settlement for permanency associated with the injury unless you lose a hand, you lose a foot, you lose the thumb and index finger on one hand, or you lose an eye. So to get any kind of settlement for permanency that's associated with the injury, you literally have to lose a limb. And that's simply something that's not true with workers' comp. Most, really fairly significant injuries result in some type of reasonable settlement for permanency that's associated with the injury. You don't get that at all with the Zurich occupational accident policy. This one thing alone can literally cost drivers tens of thousands of dollars. There are other ways that the Zurich occupational accident policy leaves you shortchanged compared to workers' comp. And if you click the link that's going to be above or below this video, you'll get to see the rest of them. And it starts at the beginning and continues all the way through to the end. It doesn't give you the same level of benefits that workers' comp does. So how does the company get away with it? How does Zurich get away with it? One of the things that I appreciate about truck drivers as much as anything else is that they are fabulously loyal to the company. They are grateful for the opportunity that the company's given them to make a decent living. But when it comes down to job injuries, that loyalty is a one-way street, and the company is going to direct them to the Zurich occupational accident policy because it doesn't cost the company any money to have a driver make a policy through the occupational accident policy. Workers' comp, different story. So, the Zurich occupational accident policy, good for the company, not so good for the drivers. Most drivers realize, hey, I'm a 1099, not understanding that the Illinois courts actually look at the substance of what's happening instead of the form. So even though you're calling yourself a 1099 driver, if you're really doing the work of the company, you're still going to be eligible to get workers' comp benefits. What they do on top of really not letting people know about their actual eligibility to get workers' comp benefits is there's a provision in the Zurich occupational accident policy that cuts them off of getting the occupational accident benefits when they make a workers' comp claim. At the same time, Zurich is usually the workers' comp carrier, and they'll say, well, you're not eligible for workers' comp because you're an independent contractor, and between the two of them, they leave you with nothing. And it's a tremendous hammer to hold over the heads of people who have been hurt on the job. In our practice, we've figured out a way to address that. It's a fairly aggressive position, but it's proven successful in a handful of cases that we've worked on. More to the point, even if you are back at the job now, even if you are back driving, you've gotten your medical care, you're back working, you can still make a workers' compensation claim. You are entitled to that third benefit, the lump sum settlement for permanency that's associated with the injury, even if you're back at work now. So that's a benefit that literally can be worth tens of thousands of dollars. All you have to do is file a application for adjustment of claim. That's making a formal workers' compensation claim with the Illinois Workers' Compensation Commission. That has to be done within 3 years of the date of accident or 2 years of your last receipt of benefits. Now, one of the ways that the Zurich occupational accident policy is inferior to workers' comp is there's sort of a 2-year window where they're going to actually take care of you, and after that, you're on your own. So if you've been hurt in the last 4 years, last 3 to 4 years, even if you're back at work now, you are still eligible to get that lump sum settlement that's associated with permanency from the injury. And that is a benefit which is really, really substantial. It can be worth a lot of money. If you don't make this claim, this is something where you've got the information, now you're essentially shortchanging yourself, and Zurich isn't doing it. So Above or below this video, you're going to see a link. Click through to the link. It's going to spell out the 10 ways that I've listed that the Zurich policy is inferior to workers' comp. It'll have my contact information. You can call me. It's 312-263-1080. Again, 312-263-1080. You can visit my website, Rights of Injured Truckers, or fill in a message form here on Facebook. We'll reach out to you. There are no upfront fees or costs for working with us. We're happy to help truck drivers. The Zurich occupational accident policy really, it makes me angry in a way that really doesn't happen very often with things like this. I hate to see people who've been hurt on the job, who are really dealing with a tough situation, get shortchanged the way that the Zurich policy does. Again, there's no upfront fees or costs. Feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to discuss with you what your rights are. If you reach out to us, there's no obligation to hire us, but you deserve it for yourself to at least find out what your rights are. Thanks for watching.